Welcome to today's invitational event, where some of the world's finest drivers will be treating us to a special exhibition of some of the sport's most iconic cars.
G'day guys, and welcome to part 4 of this career mode series. We're starting off with the invitational event that I got after the last Grand Prix, and yeah, we're in the McLaren MP413 that won the 98 World Drivers' Championship. Yeah, so objective of this one is complete or achieve like the requested number of kilometers in the within the time given. You pass checkpoints, you get more time. Now, we had a number of attempts to pass it, but we ended up getting there. As you see, yeah, the clock ran out and we did it. We only just by, I want to say that's 50 meters or something. We're going to head to Spain, which is a track that I feel very confident at. I've got to apologise that this was actually filmed, I actually did this race back in October, so I got no idea what happens in a lot of it, and also my driving is not as good as it probably is now, as you see in the ASR videos. We were tossing up between what tyres to pick, and we ended up going the softer option. We have a look at R&D progress other teams have made, and we see McLaren, Sauber and Red Bull have all made gains. We're just having a look at the chassis R&D. If you haven't seen previous parts, we want to go for factory efficiency first, just so that the rest of the chassis upgrades can be cheaper. We've already only done the one chassis upgrade, and yeah, so let's hear from Emma, our agent.
Hi, how are you? I'm just passing on your qualifying goals for this weekend.
So the team want us to qualify 12th and to beat Jolyon Palmer, which, as you can see, we are losing to in the...
Here we are at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya for the start of today's qualifying session. It won't be long now until we're ready to join the action down at trackside. And as we wait, poised for the start of what will hopefully be a thrilling qualifying, why don't you tell us, Anthony Davidson, about the things you can do to really get the most out of a car in a session like this?
Well, you're largely limited by the Parc Fermé regulations, of course. Back in the old days, pre-2004, you'd work on both a qualifying setup and a race setup over practice, and then swap them over after qualifying. So the race car was quite different at times to the qualifying car. Nowadays, though, you have to find a compromise that works for both. There are a few things that you can still adjust during the session, such as the differential, the brake bias and the front wing angle, but that's about it. So it's more about optimizing what you do have and adapting your own style to suit the track conditions.
So yeah, so we start off with our qualifying run. This is Q1. We started our flying laps, come across the line, and we started P1 after our first flying lap with a 1:22.8. That was the only lap we did in qualifying, and it got us P9. So this is Q2 now, and once again with the first set of lap time, and it was an even quicker time. We moved to P8 and we'll start on the soft tyres for the race, but trying to get a lap in early in final qualifying, we spun, so we had to come into the pits, change the tyres and then head back out. Yeah, I struggled a fair bit in this last qualifying session. Like there you see I invalidated the lap time. There's only 4 minutes to go, so we really need to get a move on as we start this flying lap now. It's a long front straight, so you have to really compromise between high speed grip and straight line speed. You go 4th gear through turn 1 and 2. Generally you'd short shift to turn 2 to 5th gear. turn 3 is usually quite flat out, and then your brakes between sort of just before the bridge, 4th gear, come out 6th gear, almost 7th gear, drop down to 3rd, try and stay off the curbs because the curbs slow you down, up to 6th before back down to 4th, 5th, 6th. Now of course I think I've run through this lap at ASR, and I think gears are slightly different. Just gone through what I was doing at the time, plus this Renault's not as good as an equal cars. We dropped down the 4th for this corner, run slightly wide, that cost us a bit of time there, but nice and smooth. We ran actually a bit wide through the chicane, luckily we didn't get it invalidated, and we continue on and we crossed the line in P6.
You've moved into P6 with that last lap?
Grid is all set then for the race tomorrow. But before we go, let's quickly remind ourselves of our top 3, who are Raikkonen, Vettel and Lewis Hamilton. Goodbye for now then, but we're really just getting started.
Yeah, so the Ferraris are on yes, the Ferraris are on the front row, Mercedes second row, as the team wants us to finish 10th.
Anthony Davidson is here with me today. Together we'll be taking you through all the action of this Spanish Grand Prix. It can be hard for the cars to follow each other closely here due to the dirty air coming off the car in front. So perhaps we're looking at a more strategic Grand Prix, Ant. What do you think on that?
I'm not too sure about that, Crofty. I mean, yes, as you say, it's hard to follow around here, but if you're brave on the brakes, you can get the job done down into turn 1, which is a medium-speed corner, so you have to be committed. And looking down at this grid today, I think we're going to see 1 or 2 drivers making a move from a long way back, maybe try to force their opponent into a mistake. I don't think this is a race that's going to be purely decided in the pit stops.
You're above where we expected on the grid. Be careful not to lose places, as there will be faster cars around you.
Thank you, Jeff. Well, 2-stop strategy for this race, softs, mediums. I know that we can take the tyres a lot further than what the game suggests that we can do, so we'll see how we go. I'll probably change over to do the mediums as the second stint and see if we can go to the end. But yeah, so the Ferraris are on the front row, Mercedes second row. In fact, there might have actually been a grid penalty for Kimi Raikkonen, which means that he starts further back in the field. So we start P8. Thank you, Jeff. Yep, grids, as he said, grid forming up. We got a Williams and Red Bull behind us, so they must have also had a grid penalties. There's a Haas to our front left, Ferrari to our right, but 5 red lights and it's lights out and away we go. We get a very good start on the Haas, who is going to get buried in the pack. The Red Bull's right behind us, you can see him in our wings. We take a dive down the inside of the Ferrari, and we get the job done. We are into P5. What a great start we've had. We've already gained 3 positions, and we're charging up now onto the Red Bull, who I'm not sure if that is Verstappen or Ricciardo. Judging by the black T-wing or T-bar, whatever you want to call it, it looks like it's Ricciardo. We'll cut later on in the race. I don't know what lap this is, but I think it's still early on. We got the Ferrari right behind us. I'm pretty sure that's Kimi Raikkonen. As we actually fell away from the Red Bull, but now we've closed back up as we're finding our rhythm. We seem to have a lot of pace compared to this Red Bull in front, and we actually make a dive bomb move, but we outbrake ourselves. We get slidey on exit, and the Ferrari comes back through, and we've got a Red Bull sitting behind us as well. And we look in front now. I think this was later the same lap or early the next. And the Ferrari goes down inside outside and gets the job done on the Red Bull, and he moves into P4. And we now close up onto the back of this Red Bull. I'm pretty sure this is Ricciardo. He's been slow all race so far. We've got, now I'm assuming that's Verstappen behind us. You see our tyre wear's at 26% already. We go down the outside of this Red Bull. We brake late and we get the move done. We run slightly wide, but we get no penalty, and we are through to P5, and I don't think we can chase down that Ferrari.
Right, we have 2 stops left in this strategy. We have 2 stops planned. You have 4 laps till your pit window opens.
Okay, so 4 laps until we have to pit. But later on we spin out. That's annoying. There goes Red Bull through. And we drop to P6. So I'm guessing one of the Red Bulls has made a pit stop.
Okay, the pit window has opened. Pit window now open for you.
So we're probably going to pit later on this lap. And follow the team, do the 2 stop, which we do. Coming in, we're going to put the mediums on. Brake, put the pit limiter on so we don't speed into the pits.
In P12, Alonso is ahead of you. Gap to car in front is 4.6 seconds. They're on old softs. Perez is behind you. Our gap behind is 1.4 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Your pit window doesn't open for more than 20 laps. 47 laps to go.
Alright. Jeff. Come on, Jeff. You talk too much. As we had 47 laps to go then. We're up into P8, down to P9 as Perez makes a move. Thank you, Jeff. Don't need to know about Jolyon. He's not a threat to us. We are passed by Perez down that straight, like I was going to say. Now we want to try chase him down. We're quicker than Perez in the corners, but he's got that Mercedes engine in the back of his car and he can fly down the bloody straights. But we're also saving up fuel. Kimi Räikkönen is out of this race. Ooh, that's a tough break for him.
Our gap to first place is 59.7 seconds.
That's worrying. We are a full minute behind first place at the moment. As we creep up the back of Perez, we get Slidey on exit, and in the dirty air we sort of struggled behind him, trying to get the car turned in and whatnot. So, especially at a high-speed circuit, dirty air is really a massive issue. But I think there might be a Red Bull up ahead. It's either Ricciardo or Verstappen. We're up into P7 now as we've gone faster that lap compared to a PB. We're in the slipstream, DRS, fake to the outside, dart to the inside. We get the move done, and we are back up into P6 and chasing down the McLaren, who I think is lapped. And yeah, he lets us through without a fight. And hopefully he holds up Perez. But cut here, we run slightly wide, and he's what? We're out of this race. God, we had some bad luck here, haven't we? That is annoying. So I want to see what happened in this replay. So I've run wide, and I guess I got hit by Perez, and the impact knocked our front wheel off. And yep, you see it there.
So, another excellent win from Ferrari. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
And as we can see, it's time for the podium, and as the drivers make their way out, there's a familiar red suit making its way to the top step. Fantastic win for Ferrari. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It's a good result for Sebastian Vettel, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. And now I'd like to ask you, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
Probably Carlos Sainz. You know, strong pace, good work with the strategy, just a very complete drive, I think.
And now let's take a look at the constructors' standings. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. It was also a strong Grand Prix from Haas F1 this weekend. Fantastic work from the American team to move themselves further up the table. After all this drama, you'd be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
Well, thank you, Crofty, for that commentary. And yes, we've not much change in the drivers. Haas have jumped over Williams. But yeah, we were on for a strong finish, and then to get taken out like that, yeah, you just can't get any luck on this game. It's just whatever I do, whether it's career mode, Aussie Sim Racing, 2v2, I just can't get a good result. So we fall behind in the rivalry now by 3 points. We've got to make it back in Monaco, tell you what. And we're almost in the red in terms of team respectability. I don't really care too much about career mode score, but yeah, that'll be it for career mode. Leave a like, comment and subscribe for more F1 content. Also follow me on Twitter, that's where I usually update my stuff. I think that's it for now. Have a good one. Take care and goodbye.